Hi, and welcome to comic thumbnailing and penciling for Creative Alchemy Comic 11. Hi, my name is Luis Escobar. I'm a storyboard artist on the Simpsons television show. I've been working on the show for over 25 years now, and I'm here to empower you. So, if you're watching this when I'm a little after I recorded it, I'm releasing this a little bit earlier than I usually do. So usually what I like to do is get through the entire comic process, and then I release the parts one after the other. So I release the penciling, and then I release the lighting, and then I release the coloring. This time around, it's going to take a little longer to get to the lighting and the coloring. I just wanted to release the penciling part first. And the reason why I'm doing this is because it's already been about 4 months since I started this comic, and it's taken me 4 months just to get the penciling done. Mostly because I've just been procrastinating. One part of it was because I took a hiatus for a month not working on my comic, but mostly it was procrastination, and it was a frustration with this particular comic strip. And I'll talk about it maybe within the video, but part of the problem was definitely just there were so many little things about this strip that really bothered me. So I wanted to just release this part first and kind of talk about the 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 mental process that happened here. And this comic, when I look at, the comic strip, the penciling this part of the process, when I looked at the whole recorded amount of time that it took me to do it, was only 12 hours. So it's about a day and a half's days of work, so it really shouldn't have taken 4 months. But that was the struggle was psychological. Just not wanting to do it. The other problem was that I got distracted with another illustration I wanted to do, and I also took a hiatus. So there was a lot going on here, and I think I'll focus on that the most in this video when I talk about it. So yeah, there was a struggle here, and I think it's worth talking about. So without any further ado, here I go. So I began this comic as I usually do by thumbnailing everything out very roughly, and then putting in the rough shots into the comic, and then putting in the dialogue. So here, this part right here, that last panel here in panel 4, is the troublesome shot, and that's the shot that gave me the most problems throughout. So the entire time I was thinking it's going to be the same as usual. I'm just going to go right through it, plow right through it. But the problems began right here at this stage. And this is the stage where I put in all the word balloons, making space for them, seeing where everything goes. I did a little bit of rewriting of the dialogue here, and that sort of thing. But the problem was here in the very last bit here. All the characters on the left here are all kind of crammed together on the left-hand corner. And the dialogue balloons needed to fit all of them. They needed to all point to 3 different characters, and they were all crammed together. And on top of that, these characters in the foreground had to have their own dialogue, and they needed to all work together. So that part right there was just a huge pain, and it kind of bugged me for the rest of the time that I was working on the thing. Was that just putting in the dialogue balloons so that each character who was clearly speaking without covering up all the artwork, and not covering the faces of the characters and stuff like that. The second part was the worst too. The putting in the background, the CG background, because it would take forever for these backgrounds to render. So I made CG backgrounds so that this would work faster, like I could just really quickly put in backgrounds that are kind of complicated. But what ended up happening was that whenever I had to experiment with the background, especially the fourth one, the fourth panel, that the rendering process was awful. Like, it would just take forever, and then I would bring in the artwork, the picture, the rendering, and it wasn't all that good. It didn't work. So I would have to do it again, and then it didn't work, and then I would have to do it, and it was just tedium. And then the background is so big that it bogged down my computer. And so whenever I needed to move the camera, there was like it would crash, or I mean, it was just it made my life miserable, just miserable. So that was another reason why I was having problems with this. Here, as I usually do, I have the background characters. The characters, as you saw, I have a model sheet, and I've got these characters' heads generally worked out. So I just kind of almost cut and paste their heads in, and I just redraw their bodies, really. As long as I get the proportions of the bodies right, that's all I really need. And then I could redraw their bodies any way I want. Just roughing out the poses, things like that. So this was all standard procedure. See here, like I just working out the size relationships from my roughs, hanging the characters on the horizon line, putting the model sheets of my characters underneath my rough so that I could get the proportions right. I have heads that I have already kind of pre-drawn in specific poses, so I just, all I have to do is bring them in and adjust them. That sort of thing kind of speeds up the process. And then I redraw whatever needs actual redrawing. Here's some adjusting with the arms and stuff, so I don't have to read. But since it was rough, I could just really quickly do that sort of thing. So these panels, again, very standard procedure, not that big a deal. Once I had it all kind of figured out. So it's the next panel. I'm going to start talking about the next panel, since it's going to go really, really, really fast. So the last panel of this comic strip, which is coming up, was one of the things that I was having the most problems with. And that was because these poses right here that you're seeing me draw are really, really not that big a deal. They were fairly easy to do. But it's the last poses that I drew of the characters kind of being on top of each other. Isabella over here on the left is going to be wanting to attack Nikon here on the right. She's being held back by the two other characters, Brand and Ken. As you can see here, the interaction between those two characters was a huge pain. Like I kind of really quickly scribbled something, but I had no idea what that interaction was really going to look like. And it meant that I really had to work at it, like actually do work. And oh my gosh, I did not want to do it. I absolutely did not want to do it. Like, it was such a pain. Like, I don't know what it is psychologically. I just didn't want to work it all out. It was a pain. So I needed to know what the center of balance of Isabella was going to be. I needed to know what Ken was going to be doing compared to Isabella. I needed to know what Brand was going to be doing compared to see. So I'm kind of so I first did Isabella, and then this is months later, I did this drawing here with Brand, and Ken, and it took a long time. Once I figured this out, though, it was okay. But there was a split second there in the video. Months and months and months passed. Once I got past this drawing problem that was giving me psychologically I didn't want to deal with, everything went by super fast. Like everything just was back to normal. It became fun again. I wanted to keep working on it. I didn't want to stop. I fixed the hand here because the hand was getting in the way of the characters in the background, and I didn't want all that mess of a bunch of lines compared to her leg and all that stuff to get in the way. But once I got past this hurdle, but it was months before I got to this point. So it was a struggle. It was a struggle here. This was one of the most difficult comics that I've ever had to do just because of the psychological barriers I had to deal with. All right, so that's it. Thanks for watching, and I'll talk to you next time. All right, bye.